I'll start it right here, man. Ronnie, we got Sir Lover, the MC in the house. This is just a little conversation here. I got my little Gilligan's Island shirt just because it's the end of summertime, man. That's what's going on.
I got one. I should have wore mine too. I got one too. Okay, there you go. I like the close-ups, then that'll work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess where do we get started? Because mine is a documentary within itself as far
Yes.
as the whole history of it. So before I know I told you before I wanted to dissect that song, and I think we might, if we can't get into it to this session, definitely the next one. But I got to thinking of all the crews I've been with, and what actually only two, uh, and just well actually three, um, and just walking all the way through how the whole process of rapping started for me and all my mentors and who led me along the way in Seattle and across the nation and how I got to that point of being Sir Lover, the MC.
Well, hey, put it this way. For people that don't know and didn't get a chance to check out the book, in the book, you talk about how it was actually like a phone call from DJ Easy Shock, Michael Turner, that kind of turned you on to the first crew that you joined, man. Maybe you want to talk about that phone call from Easy Shock, man. What was that like?
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. But let me even back up before that phone call
Sure,
to
sure, sure, sure.
just lay the groundwork. Okay, so rapping for me, I don't know about most kids, but what class was it? It's not grammar class. It wasn't language art. It might have been history class where I started. No, it was language arts where I started getting into poetry and reading poetry. And you go to the library. The teachers send you to the library in middle school, and what am I going to read? So I always went to the poetry section, and there I was. You're reading all these writers, and you don't know what you're reading, but you're just reading poems and you're interested in them and how to make them rhyme. I never thought about how to make them rhyme. And everybody's telling you on the same podcast where they first got the thing of rhyming and rapping, which was hearing that Rapper's Delight in 1979 when it was played on KYAC. So I've heard of a couple of guys say that. So basically, I knew about rhyming. I knew about it as far as like, poetry or whatnot, but I didn't take it any further than that until that morning when me, my brother, we woke up, the whole neighborhood in 1979. I don't know what time it was. I want to say 5:30 in the morning, but I'm sure all the kids didn't run out at 5:30 in the morning. So maybe it was 7:30 in the morning in the summer. And Robert Dale Scott, the DJ, actually said, I'm going to play a brand new thing. This is called Rap. It's big on the East Coast. He said something to that effect. And here it is. This song is called Rapper's Delight. So, once you, for all of us, I don't know what was going on, if everybody had their radio on at the same time or slept to their radio. But, you heard now what you hear is not a test. And then everybody came after that song. Everyone came out trying to talk about the Scooby Doo, the hippity hop, what they heard him say, and all the rhymes that they had within that song being played on the radio. So right there is where I got my little inclination of I could possibly rap. So that was 1979. Not that I did it, but that's where just the little seed got put into my mind. And then I had a buddy, Donnie Mitchell. He was in one of the crews with Funchess's brother. So Doc Nasty, when they talk about Dr. Nasty, well, he lived on my block across the street down a little bit. So he had a cousin, Jeff Cunningham. So that's what I was telling you in the book. So Jeff Cunningham, they would visit, I guess they'd have family functions and visit. And I don't know how me and Jeff got to the point of rapping, but he lived in South Seattle in the Rainier Vista, and I was in the CDs. So somehow we started calling ourselves the Sir Lovers. He's talking about these two ashy kids with no lotion, hair nappy, just all the above. But we started calling ourselves the Sir Lovers, and that's how we were going to catch girls or whatever. I don't know. But we went back and forth with Sir Lover number one, Sir Lover number two. And like I told you before, I took it more serious than him. I don't think he cared a dang about rapping. He just wanted to be Sir Lover. So if he ever watches this, he'll probably be falling out of his chair cracking up. But yeah, so I started taking it serious, and then I started actually trying to find out how do you write a rhyme or whatever, because at that particular time, as far as writing lyrics, I was just copying out stuff I heard on the record player, trying to learn a song, you'll write the lyrics out and say them back or whatnot. So I knew how to write lyrics out, but I didn't know anything about rap. Now, Deputy Rhyme that I talk about, he's an interesting piece to this because me and him were tight in high school, middle school and high school. So we went to high school together at Roosevelt. So before the whole rap thing jumped off, me and him were still tight, Deputy Rhyme.
Mhm.
So eventually, somehow he disappeared and went his way, and I went my way until we came back together on when we rocked the spot. But um, I got to a point where in my neighborhood on 22nd Union, his neighborhood too, everybody's neighborhood, uh, I actually had a little part-time job at a record store by the name of Dirt Cheap Records and Tapes. I was the little kid that'll come sweep the sidewalk, run errands, and I actually ran errands for the whole block. So Mayran's drugstore, Tomboys, whatever they needed. If someone needed something from Jack in the Box at the time on 23rd, right there where Ike's is now, I'd go do that. And lo and behold, I was probably earning $2.75 a day, but I was happy
Wow. Yep.
at
Yep.
age 12. So I'm very happy I had a little change in my pocket. So um, John J.W. Johnson, who set up Dirt Cheap Records and Tapes, and he had a few locations, but on the one on 22nd and Union, somehow he negotiated getting the upstairs second floor of the building. And when he got that for the kids, he put a arcade in there for all the teenagers. So we had an arcade on the second floor where we can actually go and play video game or not video games, pinball machines, things of that nature. So we all had a ball up there. Eventually, Doc Nasty's brother, Shaky started throwing parties up there. And so it was really the happening spot for a teenager who lived around the block to have somewhere to go close to home. So now, if you remember in the past, I told you about the bullies on the block. We had some big, tall John. That's all I can do is remember his name. We had a few that used to try to act like they were running things in the bullies of the block. So we kind of like kept it even keel as far as like not pushing the motor for them to mess with us every day, even though we weren't scared of them. We had backup, but it's like they just seem to want to pick on these particular kids. So one night, this is where it all starts. One night, that was late 81 or 82, summer of 81, 82, before high school. So one night, there's a party going on, and there's just this tremendous commotion down at the front door. I'll never forget. It's a tremendous commotion. So it seems like some cats are trying to fight or whatnot. There's something going on. There's a big fight. So you're able to go to that second floor and look out the windows. We actually saw the whole bully get picked up and slammed on the ground. And, and you can imagine being 14 or 15, all these kids are elated, like, did you see what that guy did to John? So when that happened, we kind of felt like, all right, cool, leave us alone or whatever. Or we'll find those guys and they'll do it to you again. So the next day is when, and I had already knew Michael Turner, so I already knew Michael and his brother, Love Jones. That's a whole nother story, Love Jones, but um, Easy, his real name is Michael Turner. So um, after that night, the very next day in the afternoon, that's when Easy called with the phone call, and he was like, "Man, what you doing, man? Sir Love, remember that big old fight last night? Those guys are on the block, man. They holding auditions. Won't you come around here, man, and rap for them and see if you can make this crew they setting up called SOS?" So now I know that was '82. So I went around there and I did my little rap. I don't even remember what it was, but I did my little rap and my little introduction for Cap Love, his brother Skigo, Big George Holmes, CC. That's the one who slammed the bully, and Mike Jones. All these guys were from Syracuse, New York, and I never seen Techniques in my life, so they had Technique turntables set up and speakers in this apartment. No, actually they were in the back house in an apartment too. They had two locations, and I said my rap and I made their little crew. So that's how all that started, with Easy, to answer that question. To bring you up to speed. That's a lot to get to 1982, but I actually condensed it. All right. Balls in your court. Next question.
No, I love it. Thank you so much, man. This is like a real treat because not everybody has had a chance to read the story, and then plus this is a lot more detail and a lot more information, which is great for history, man. I love this. Um,
Okay.
all right, so basically, well, I never really asked you this last time. I like to ask everybody: did you get into graffiti or popping or anything else besides rapping, or did you always kind of know that rapping was your field, man? Like, talk about that for just 1 second.
Well, just like today, I've always been the lead singer, the one with the mic. So I think I tried breakdancing, wasn't no good at it. Tried popping, I wasn't no good at it. So I the term wasn't out yet, but yeah, then I stayed in my lane because if you get out there and dance back then, you better know what you're doing because the girls are gonna laugh at you. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
at that,
here's my next question. So now let's jump forward like about a year. So now SOS is like a well rehearsed machine. They're throwing house parties. Captain and Skigo are taking home 500 a night, sometimes 600, 700 a night.
yeah.
Uh, if you want to just describe an average night, what it would be like
Oh,
when SOS was at their peak, when you were at your peak, man, what would an average night be like? What would that house party be like?
all right. Well, the first thing that comes to mind when you say that, we got to give respect to Mount Zion Church on 20th and Pine. Actually, they're not located on 28th and Pine, but since the house is gone, that's all you can see is Mount Zion Church. Um, 20th and Pine is wow, I can't believe I was 13 and 14, where SOS was at the height of we had parties, we did gigs, but 20th and Pine, the McDaniels, Boo Boo and them's mom, when she went to the club, she gave us the house. And so when she came back from the club, can you just imagine that the club closed, but your house is really hopping with all these cars outside at 3 in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning? And so there was not really no incidents there, no incidents because everybody was from the community. Maybe some stuff happened outside, I don't remember, but being a shorty locked in a room, we're in a room with two turntables, it's someone's bedroom, mattress or whatnot, and we're going all the way from 9 in the morning. So for those parties that cost, I don't know, 75 cents to $1 to get in, and jam packed all night, and everybody from South Seattle, North Seattle, West Seattle was coming to 20th and Pine. There had to be a good, I want to say 8 months to a year and a half where we just had that place packed, no police problems or nothing. I don't remember any. If there was, I don't remember any police problems. All I know is you'd be in the room, and if you remember, all the instrumentals back then was 5 to 7 minutes long. So you're either freestyling or you're saying your rhyme on the mic, and people are waiting for you to go on. And with that door being closed, because we weren't out in the party, with that door being closed, then a lot of people outside wanted to know who was that. So eventually, somebody like Deputy Rhyme might come into the room to like, oh man, I didn't know you was out there. Yeah, can I get on the mic? And then somebody would spit. So yeah, those were very great times, and actually thank God for His grace and mercy because I've come a long way as far as that. And then
Man,
that
that's
leads right into the boys club too, because they were also throwing parties at the boys club. So that does take us into '83.
cool.
Uh, so when I'm trying to find out when Hard Times came out by Run DMC, because that record was big then. That was at the summer of '82. That's what it sounds like.
Man, I always have a hard time placing some of those in the exact year, but yeah, it's something like
Yeah, because
82,
Skigo
83.
and them, they brought all the East Coast music up here. So Hard Times, it's like that. That's the way it is. Just pounding. I don't even know if there was complaints from the neighbors or whatever, but yeah, those were good times, just being locked in there till 3 or 4 in the morning, and then everybody would leave, pack up, and just go home. Yeah,
Well, because we have limited time, I'm going to summarize one part because in the previous interviews, Frostmaster Chill has talked a lot about how he remembers uh, there being like a feeling where you might team up with Frostmaster for a minute, kind of chill with KOC for a minute, and then there might have been some back and forth in there. We don't need to go through all that again,
yeah.
but let's just put it this way: once you knew that you and Frostmaster had a vibe, do you remember the first couple songs you wrote with him? Because you did talk about that song called Frostmaster Chill, which is an amazing track, amazing song. But do you want to talk about some of the first songs that you and Frostmaster made together?
Well, we definitely had a vibe, you know what I'm saying? And he definitely had everything I needed in his studio, you know what I'm saying? Microphones, time. As you know, in studios, there's a lot of time. And he had a lot of bright ideas. So, um, staying at Granny's house, his grandmother, got to give it up to Miss Rena. She allowed us to just make a lot of noise down in that basement and have, you know, if we had the same production and know-how that we know now, then we could have probably made it a little bit bigger than we did instead of just being in that circle of, you know, who Sir Mix-a-Lot wants to produce out of Seattle and make big. But no, to answer the question, I know Frostmaster Chill, that particular song, whew, going to Kevin Gardner's and just putting so much energy in it to make sure that it was right and correct, and doing it over and over. And he's right, that idea came from MC LaRap, for me and him to do something together, and that I was just so proud of that song and how it was just hitting and everybody was liking it.
And then the other tracks on there, there's three other songs on that tape. There's one called On the Beat, there's one called The Hill, and there's one called Fearless. Do you want to talk about any of those other three songs?
Um, Fearless, well, actually, none of them match up to that song, Frostmaster Chill, because when we got to perform that, but Fearless, I'd have to listen to that again. On the Hill, is that me rapping? I
Uh,
mean, you sound like you listened to him more recently than me.
I have it on my MP3. We're gonna have to come and circle back, man, and figure out who wrote exactly what song because there's no credits on the tape. The tape had no credits.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. You might want to MP3 those up, and then we do a whole nother segment.
Yep, yep.
But no, like I said, I remember Fearless. I remember writing that and doing that, and that was just that was a battle rap, just trying to go out against people. But like I said, we'll have to have a whole episode of dissecting my number one battle rap, which was High Sight, because that was particularly made for SWAS, for Some Mix a Lot.
Yeah, talk about high sighting. Talk about that song a little bit. How did it come to be, and what a little bit about the lyrics of the track.
Well, I feel that there's a few people um, here in the town who just, like, you know, actually didn't give me and Frost Master Chill enough credit because of the fact of, I mean, we was doing some work, we was putting some work in, but I felt that we need, and he said it too, but we needed a song that's just going to come out there, stand and dominate. And you got to understand, the man I looked up to, Kumo D, I mean, he just had at that time just the most craziest battle raps going with LL and what he did to Busy B. So I wanted to make something where I can just dissect and go through everything of SWAS. I mean, that was our arch nemesis, arch rival, arch enemy, and still not too happy about them today. You know, I could care less for them. You know what I'm saying? But he had the opportunity to come actually into the hood and pick some people up. That was my main aim. So since, like, he got to the point where he was moving to Tacoma, and he didn't really care about the CD, even though he's from the Bryant Manor, right, just a couple blocks from the Boys Club, and we were doing all those gigs together. Um, that's where High Sighting came about. Okay, I'm gonna just do something where it's devastating. So what is my first lyric in that? Innovating to most, to others is filthy. So when I sat down with it, I just actually said, I need to write I'm gonna walk you through everything. Just write the hardest thing that I can. Innovating the most to others is filthy. I'm the judge in this court. Don't bite. You're guilty of tasting a rhyme time after time, committing a crime. Yo, you can't get with mine. So I'm at that point. The first verse, I'm really high citing. I guess I should go on and say it. Let me say, you can't get with mine. Coming genuine, not afraid to be truthless. So the reason I'm doing this is a lot of rappers, you'll hear them saying stuff and they'll put metaphors together and they don't know what they mean. They don't know what they're saying. Man, what did you say? What did that mean? So that's why I wanted to slowly break it down so you can be like, oh, okay, that's really what that means. You're actually talking to the artist that wrote the song. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
the Georgia judge in this court, don't bite, you guilty of tasting the rhyme. You can't come in genuine, not afraid to be truthless. In the flesh I stand. You know what I'm saying? On the mic, I get ruthless is a tragedy. Once you go against me, food is reality. So treat me like your majesty, solid as stone, rough as a boulder. Lyrics not identical. So that means I don't say the same stuff.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
the foe scolder. So yeah, verse one was just really throwing it out there, and they didn't know who I was talking about or what I was doing. So then Verse 2, what did I do on there? Because that's verse 3. Innovating the most, others is filthy. Da, 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 da. Go to high side. I'm gonna jump right to verse 3 because it's all SWAT, so since you
Yeah.
got limited time. Verse 3 was after verse 2 where I just said a whole lot of stuff and I just was had my chest pumped up. But then I wanted to key in and hone in totally on SWATs and Sir Mix-a-Lot and them. And since they never responded and they never said anything, I hope they watch this video. I hope they watch this video. Chill would Frostmaster Chill would say, "I'm being ahead. I'm being ahead now." That's one of our terms. You're being ahead now. If you watch this video, then you'll be able to see what I was saying. So verse number 3 starts off. For me to stop high citing, I wouldn't do it. I dropped the funky lyrics because there ain't nothing to it. It's dope to drag ace to bass the element through the speakers. I can't be blasted on because I never been a sleeper. Catch a fever from a dosage of rhymes is well known. And if you thought you heard me rapping, it was just a clone. Because somebody had said that they beat me in a rap before. So you must have beat somebody else. So that's why I wrote something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm notorious. Uh, the filthiest poet, so explicit, no doubt. As I said, I'm like a pimp. I'm all about an account. So love of the MC in black, get real. And on the wheels of steel, Frostmaster Chill. Literature, I speak and crack a 40 of brew, exposing the facts right in front of you. I'll proceed to transform and escalate over the suckers from SWAS who like to speculate, invade the CD. So that means when they came and shot Posse on Broadway,
Mm.
invade the CD. You won't return no more. And then he had his thing, my beats are icky. So I said, your beats are icky, what you lie for. And then as fans, you got to know about that soft MC in the battle. He means nothing to a pro like me, champion, self-successor, full rhyme producer, choosing to misuse a counterfeit confuser, loser, never victories I take, sneezing you dead, so don't make that mistake. To the royal self-mentor, deaf rhyme inventor, year-round composer from winter to winter. Beyond more normal comparisons, I proved to be lethal, worthy license to kill, but still legal. Amigo, stacking rhymes by the kilo. Amigos is deuce, full status is zero. I've done no biting. I'm finished writing. So love of the MC, y'all. And I'm high siding. So
Damn. Oh
when they
my
heard that,
God.
they was
Oh
like,
my God.
yeah, I was just only hope. My hope was like, man, I hope Kumo D hear this one day.
Yep.
So, but other than that, yeah, I really wrote it in his style where Modi don't really like be playing it around. And just when he's coming at your head and you got to he actually said that you got to make sense of every word that you're saying. So that's what I wanted to do in that particular song. So, I mean, we're in our 50s now. Battle rapping is over or whatnot. We wouldn't go in the studio and put nothing down unless, it came to that point. But
Mm.
knowing that you have that ability to do that, and now you can actually, then I can bite off myself.
Yeah.
Then you can bite off yourself. A lot of rappers do that, LL and Cool J and them. LL's best rhyme that he ever wrote, I don't know if you've heard it. It's called the original version of Rock the Bells.
Okay.
It's called Rock the Bells, but not the fast one. He's got an original version.
Mm.
And it's really like potent. Actually, yeah, you can tell it's a Rick Rubin beat. But
Wow.
yeah, so if you never heard that, listen to that. It's on YouTube now. But yeah, other than that, just that's how I put that rhyme together, is just to make sure that nobody could come back and say anything, and that we can actually dissect every word if you want to know what it means.
Yeah, that's watertight. That's airtight. Battle attack, man. But check it out. There was other songs too. Like we got to talk about. There's two more songs I want to talk about before we bump to the next era, and that's "We Rock the Spot" and "CD Hype." Do you want to talk about those two songs for a minute?
Okay, CD Hype was also like darker. I think there was two that Chill talked about, but CD Hype, he gave me, those are one of the songs that he gave me, and he had like a notebook, a few pages where he just said, take these lyrics, do something with them, make them rhyme. I don't know if, because he could have wrote a movie the way the songs he wrote was. He kind of wrote them like I forgot what he was writing them for, and it might have been for a short story movie or something. But that's where CD Hype is just those are actually his words, and I'm just putting a little spice to them if I had to change something. But I think I told you guys last time I didn't have to change anything
Mm-hmm.
because he, if so, just maybe 1 or 2%. Because the way that he wrote those out, he made it real simple. Now, the other one was, which one did you say? The
"We
other one
Rock the
was?
Spot." That has background singers, I think. Doesn't it have background singers?
I think that's me.
Or that's you singing? I can't remember if there was women singing on there or just you singing on there.
it might be me. I don't know if Kevin brought it. I don't think that there were no girls on that song, but
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking I'm mixing two songs up.
no,
Yeah,
no, you're
talk about "We Rock the Spot." That's my jam.
when we rock the spot. That's man, the same way I talked about the evolution of how I wrote High Sight and the way Depp wrote that song, and you know just how we played off of each other. He Deputy Rhymes. I got to get him on this show for you so he can tell his own story. But he the way that came together, the chemistry is just you're just taking the history of the Central District and bouncing it off one MC to another, and the people are loving it. You know, when he said anytime without time to waste anywhere, just picked the place, and I was up here like the spiritual things. No, I can't even say his rhymes.
Yeah.
but but yeah, so that was just an exciting song. I think might have came up with the idea, but the way me and Deb was, we really collaborated on that one. So that was a hot one that once again that never got out there to make it. And if we had to do it all over, there'd be quite a few things that would stand out from the Seattle community.
Um. So now here's the thing that a lot of people don't talk about in these exact words, but as you know clearly, rap was originally only a live art form. Nobody ever thought about putting it on tape, and in fact, there was a resistance to putting it on tape because it would kill it. It would kill the energy, and a lot of people felt like you can't record a rap song. That's just not the art form.
Right.
Uh, so Seattle, like groups like SOS, we don't have an SOS tape to listen to. We don't have a KOC tape to listen to. We do have the work with you and Frostmaster Chill. Um, any thoughts about putting that stuff out sometime? The work that you did with Frostmaster Chill as Ace of Spades. Do you want to talk about the Ace of Spades songs a little bit for just a few minutes too while we got you? We still have at least 10 minutes.
Yeah, well,
But
The Ace of Spade songs, actually, because I know how chill he's a perfectionist, so um, I got to apologize to him and his brothers because they haven't been sending me beats, and I've been on this R&B thing for a long time. So AF Pace, that's his brother. The other Funch is Anthony, and they have sent a lot of hot stuff. So when we say those particular songs, um, I can see a time of just going into the studio, taking some of those same lyrics and putting them on these new beats or whatever, and spicing them up and doing stuff because they have sent some very hot stuff. I'm not. I can see that happening. I'm not. I mean, I'm totally open to that. That's a good situation. But those songs should come out. They never came out. But that's like I said, that's due to our know-how of the music industry back then. Our management, we had Tony Benton. Um, when Sam passed, I believe I got to give Sam Sir Jam some credit too. Hold up, because he was a true big brother. Sam Sir Jam, one of our managers that passed away. He had us on the track along with Tony Benton. They were a team, and Sam was mainly, well, they both was in the studio, but Sam was, teaching us the professionalism of how to work in the studio and do things. And also Les Milton, I don't know if you know him, the Miltonian Institute, but he also was a manager. So we had some discipline in there where people wanted to put some records out and do some things. It just never got followed through. So Sam's passing away. Us no longer being with Les, Cherie, that was one of our managers. I think she was also from the East Coast, New York, maybe. So they're at a point now where actually, now it's easy just to go in the studio, do lyrics and record them over. That sounds like just a few sessions at Kevin's house, but I'd love to see them get put out. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so this is going to be so for your rap career, we've mostly been talking about the 1980s, entirely about the 1980s. Is it accurate to say that you kind of retired as the 90s showed up, or did you stay active in the 90s? I can't remember if you really had recorded material after that decade, or if it was just in the 80s.
I only had one song after that, and it was at no, it wasn't at Kevin's. It was in '95, and it was my Sonic song, Sonics.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So and that's because I hadn't worked for the Sonics yet. What was I doing? Earl Cheatham, who was the manager of AF Pace, Funch's brother, he put something together and told me, well, I had made the song and I let him hear it. And he was able to get some good promotions down there with the Sonics where we perform and got some good perks. So Yeah, that was it. 95 and then 96 is when I kind of got more into the R&B singing, which was already in my system. I just never did it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't think I did too many more. I wanted to. I think I went to Kevin's and did a couple of things. I just never proceeded through with them, and that's where we end up now. But like I said, on rap, the door is open. I hear instrumentals today. I hear a lot of Tupac and some of his stuff, and want to just get on it. And that's probably what you're going to hear from me next. Tupac has a song called "Do for Love." I don't know if you remember that off of the
Yeah,
Bobby Caldwell. And I was actually driving down the street listening because this is perfect because what Tupac does in that song is he keeps saying, I'm a sucker for love. I'm a sucker for love. And I am Sir Love, who was a sucker for love. And in some ways, hate being a sucker for love because you're supposed to be in the music and only music, not letting women or girls take that over as a teenager, right? So that comes from Biz Markie. He's one of his lyrics. I was never into girls. I was just into my music.
yeah.
So that got me to sucker for love, and I actually started writing to it as if Pac let me on the track because I was listening to the instrumental, and I'm driving down the street listening to the instrumental, and I was like, wow, I got verses for this. I'm a sucker for love. So it kind of comes in like the deal, Pac. Thanks for letting me on this track. Would you let me get a few verses? And then I spit. So actually, now that the way the business is set up, now you can actually go and put that out. You just gotta pay back those producers of that record. So that might really happen within the next year.
Well,
Sucker for
also,
love.
we can also tell people about your disc, man. It's called 27 Years in the Making, right? Is that the title?
Okay, so now, yes, it's I don't know how many minutes we got left. That
Yeah, we
one came.
got five or six.
Okay, well, that one came in the midst of that goes back to the Love Jones era. So Easy's brother's name, Love Jones, who was killed in '92. We were all tight friends, but that's Easy's brother. So what I wanted to do to honor my one of my main homies, because that was like a main homie, is Ronnie Jones. So I just stick Love in there since it was Sir Love and made it Ronnie Love Jones, but it's really in honor of him also. So that's when I got into the music and started doing R&B. So when you hear 27 years uh, in the making, then that's actually all the way from 2009 to 1982.
Okay. Okay.
um, and that's just every musical song. If you listen to it, it's all digital. Not too much. I don't think there's anything with a band as opposed to my new singles that I put out. But and I'll send you some of those new singles too. I don't think I've sent that to you, but yeah, everything was just digitally done. It kept actually I have a Kurzweil K2000 which actually lets you it has every drum machine in it and everything in it where you can actually what I would do is all my music, all my beats, all my songs, all my bridges, everything at home, take it to Kevin, drop it at his house, and then let him clean it up. And then he calls me back and lets me know he puts all the new sounds in it. So that's how I can save money on studio time.
Hey,
And
watch.
then,
Do you can you remember an anecdote or a story about the original Love Jones? Because according to the book, he did security at a lot of events because he was good at security. Do you have a story that comes to mind, or anything that's just a funny story about Love Jones now that he's passed away?
um, well, I wouldn't call it a story. I just know one thing about him, and part of the reasons they did what they did when he left here is he had the quickest hands. His hands is you some guys you play fight with and some you don't because so I know that you're not getting no punches in nowhere, and he was like we're all confident, but he was also confident like that. But the last thing you want to do is just sit up with him and squab and play fight because he's going to get you. So that's my main thing about my brother Love Jones. I always lock that in. He had hands, and he didn't have to worry about grappling or nothing because his hands took care of you. That's the
And
best way to put it.
his sister would be at the parties too, right? Talk about her for just a couple seconds, man.
Yeah, and we did one big house party at their house too. That was a SOS party. Yeah, uh, young lady Felicia. That was his younger sister. So yeah, they and like I said, and her mom even used to kick it with us too back in the day before she passed on. But yeah, that was a nice party. Yeah, that was a good one.
Well,
Yeah.
man, yeah, we got a few minutes left at the end here. What would you like to leave people with just for this episode? Because we could do a lot more, but what do you want to leave the young people with, man? A little words of wisdom, just a little something, something, man.
Well, the youngsters, I would just say, be. A lot of people say it. Be true to your craft. I would try to say clean up your craft as much as you can. You know what I'm saying? Everything doesn't got to be derogatory or downheartening to a person. It's, when we rapped, our diss raps mainly was for us to get out there on display and show what we can do, not actually to tear the man down and make him as worse as possible. Yes, you were trying to humiliate him on the microphone, but it never got to the point where I just wanted you feeling so bad where you couldn't live no more.
Yep.
So yeah, man. Is But what I would like to see though is all of us come together on one. I don't think you've had Mix on yet, where you can ask him some of these questions.
Yep.
But like I said, it's been a long time, and we need to get like a total resolve to the point where we can just say, so everybody can just understand. Because the question Seattle still has is why. I know Puff Daddy got in a lot of trouble, but Mix could have been the Puff Daddy of Seattle as
Right.
far as all the artists could have been right up under his umbrella if he would have did it that way. Not
Yeah.
that he can do whatever he want to do, but I'm saying he was in charge of he had a lot of power and he could have used it a little different.
Well, that's pressure, man. But I hear you. So yeah, I'm just like you with the advice to everybody out there, man. Just you got to work hard to get your dreams happen because they're not gonna just fall in your lap. So you gotta.
There
It
you
takes a
have it.
little work. It takes a little hard work out there, man. That's my advice.
All right, man. Well, yeah, let's do this again. Like I said, there's more information that need to be put out there. But like I said, if somebody can connect you with Mix and we can all get on a call together, that'd be great.
I'm down, man. Let's do it. And thanks for the chat. We learned a lot today, man. I appreciate this call.
All right, man. See you at the top because the bottom's too crowded.
Hey, Sir Lover, take care, man. See you
All
now.
right, peace out.